Hey, what's up? It's Valar. Hope everybody's doing awesome. Thank you so much for checking out the video. We've got the fusion today that it's in the game. It's Pyxniel or Fixniel. I don't even know how you say this. I'm going to call it Pyxniel. New High Elves fusion. A little bit different than we've ever had. It is all new champions. However, 3 of the 4 rares on every single one of them are the same. So Tigersoul, Roughtstone, and Pig Sticker. I just find that name funny. Pig Sticker, huh? Are the same across all of them. And actually, believe it or not, some of these champions as a whole don't really look that bad, including the fusion too. So, actually, kind of looking forward to this one more than I thought I would actually. So, there's that. That part's good. So we'll just take a look, and there's actually a whole bunch of other new champions that they dropped in here too. That they really didn't announce much of. A few of them. Now they didn't announce some of them, but not all of them. So we'll just look through the actual fusion tab because it's easier to go through this way than to sort by faction. But when I go look at some of the other champions, I'm going to show it by faction, just to show that they snuck a couple things in there. Anyway, so Pyxniel, here's what she is. She's got what she does. She's got a one hitter, the 30% chance of Veil on a random ally for 1 turn. Cannot place the Veil buff on this champion. All right. Places increased defense, which you can book this to a 3-turn cooldown, though. Increased defense and continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns. Then attacks all enemies under freeze debuffs. Places 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns on all enemies under freeze debuffs. It's pretty interesting. I like the fact it does increase defense and continuous heals on a 3-turn cooldown. So I think this is actually going to be a pretty useful skill. Icicle Barrage, and that's the other thing. Some of these names and some of these skills are actually freaking hilarious. Attacks 5 times at random, not on her necessarily, but on some of the other ones. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn, 100% chance of placing a freeze debuff on enemies that receive 2 hits. Frost Weaver. Whenever an enemy places a freeze debuff on an ally, it has a 20% chance of stealing the freeze debuff and placing it on this champion instead. 25% chance of filling this champion's turn meter by 25% every time they receive a freeze debuff. 35% chance of removing any freeze, which you can book to 50 for this champion at the start of every turn. And if there are multiple champions in the team with this skill, only one will activate. So she can sort of cleanse the freeze and then take it off herself. A little bit unique. I feel like it's kind of situational that needs a bit of setup. So I don't know. I mean, I could be actually this is just my initial impression actually too. So I'm not sure if that's going to be amazing or not. I would say it's pretty situational. And this one is okay, right? It places freeze, but it's random, 5 times at random. I'd prefer it to be an AoE freeze on a 4-turn cooldown, like Gurgo does AoE freeze. Even if you lowered the chance or something, no, 30% is pretty low actually still. So it's still a pretty low chance. But 100% chance if it hits twice. That's pretty random and situational too. I think most of her utility is going to come from this Grip of Winter skill. And then ally resist in arena battles by 80. Doesn't Rosin or someone have resist in arena battles by 90? I'm not sure why you would use that. Okay, but anyway. She's still pretty good. I'm going to go for her. I'm going to grind it out, go for her. And I'd like to actually do some champion guides and stuff and reviews on all of these champions if I can. I'm not sure it's going to be realistic, but do them as many as I can. So here's Balthos. This is the drug lord of Raid Shadow Legends. This guy has been selling all the undead hordes meth. That's why he's pretty fat. So he doesn't do the meth himself, if you notice, right? But a lot of these undead guys are pretty skinny, like Mashalad, all these skeletons. He's a skeleton himself, but he's a fat skeleton. So he's the underworld's undead horde's drug lord, right? Draug lord. I mean, what is this? But he looks pretty damn cool. I love these purple shields. Look at that. That is just badass, actually, right there. I do like his character design very much, actually. He's a defense-based champion. He has decreased attack on his A1, and he's a spirit champion. I'm not 100% sure there's any spirit champions that have decreased attack on their A1. We have Sepulchre Sentinel, who's Force, and then you have, like J-Rig and a whole bunch of magic ones. But I don't think, I could be wrong, that there's a spirit one. It's a very low chance, though. It's only a 40% chance. The other ones are all 60%, so he's a little bit low in that regard, but he is spirit defense-based, so it's kind of interesting. AoE, 75% chance of placing decreased crit rate for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, which you can get up to 100%. I'm a little bit underwhelmed by decreased crit rate. I mean, it's okay. It's nothing major. I don't know. If you've found some amazing use for decreased crit rate, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm missing something. So attacks one enemy, 75% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 2 turns. Also heals this champion by 20% of their max HP on a 4-turn cooldown. It's a single target provoke, but it's pretty cool in the fact that it heals as well as provokes. So it's pretty decent tanky ability right there. It is single target, which would be better if it was kind of an AoE thing, but you book up to 100%. So, I mean, he could lock someone down if you're having trouble with them in arena. That's actually kind of where I see the use. Or maybe there's one, like, nagging thing in a wave or something, although it's only going to take care of one of them. So, this is the cool part, too. It reflects 30% of the damage this champion receives back to the attacker. So, reflect damage and decrease attack, right? I would almost feel like if he had a multi-hitter, I'd say he'd be good in Fire Knight, but he doesn't. But he might still be okay there. And then his aura is ally defensive faction crits by 30. I think this guy could be pretty good. So I'm actually fairly impressed with the value of the champions they're providing here. So here's Alaric, the Hooded. A lot of Banner Lords from what I remember too. This guy actually looks pretty okay. He looks kind of like Masked Fearmonger, though. It's the same Jason Voorhees-like mask, right? In a red outfit here. But still pretty cool. One hitter, 30% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 7.5%. Decreases turn meter by further 3 for each buff on the target. Okay. I mean, it seems like it's could be okay, but the other targets have a lot of buffs on them. Which, why would you want to decrease the turn meter if they're buffed out like crazy? Because doesn't that just prolong the buffs that they have? I mean, I don't know. So attacks one enemy has a 50% chance of removing 2 random buffs from the target before attacking. Okay, it's a one-hitter. 75% chance booked up to 100 chance of stealing 2 random buffs instead if the target has 4 more buffs. Okay. I mean, interesting. He steals buffs, so that's kind of cool. He steals the buffs. Like, reminds me of Padma. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack and decreased accuracy debuff on all enemies for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. Now, he really does remind me of Padma. Doesn't she do the same exact thing? I think on a lower cooldown. I'm not sure. Ally and faction crits by 29%. He's okay. He's decent. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's got AoE, decreased attack, decreased accuracy. That's pretty good. I just don't feel... I like the other guy better. Just my opinion. Here's Gerard the Stone. Man, if he was hanging out with Drug Lord, he'd be Gerard the Stoned. But, hey. Ching! Alright, so attacks one enemy has a 50% chance of placing stun debuff for 1 turn. 40% chance of placing stun debuff for 1 turn instead if the target is more than 75% turn meter. That's kind of useful. You book up to 50%. It's single target, but it could actually kind of save you if you were trying to knock it. You know, you wanted to knock someone down there, stun them if they're about to take a turn. 30% increased crit rate, increased crit damage on him. Then attacks one enemy, ignoring 25% of defense. Will ignore 50% instead if the target's under increased defense buff. 3-turn cooldown. Again, that's kind of situational. I mean, they have to be under an increased defense debuff to ignore more of the defense. So, kind of weird. They're going to have higher defense at that point, too, I feel like. So, meh. This is actually a cool ability, but it's a 3-turn passive cooldown. Immune to fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, and stun debuff. So, immune to a lot of things, but only every 3 turns. And then an ally resist in Doom Tower by 50. I mean, he's not horrible. Just okay, right? This guy actually looks pretty interesting. Rugnar Gold Gleam. Really cool skin there, too, actually. I love the armor. Looks sick, actually. Really does. Like, he got the horn here. Just full armor. You got armor in his beard. You got the glowing red eyes right there. Pretty sick. The axe is glowing. Attacks one enemy, 50% chance of placing a leech. He's attack-based, and he's got a leech on his A1, which is kind of interesting. Sacrifices HP equal to 15% of his champion's max HP, then fills turn meter by 75%, placing a shield on his champion equal to 20% of their HP for 3 turns. The shield buff can't be removed. The HP will happen. It'll kill him if he sacrifices HP, even if he's about to die, it'll kill him. But it'll ignore shield and block damage on a 3-turn cooldown. That's a pretty interesting ability. Gold Mad Frenzy. Gleam of Avarice places 50% increased attack for 2 turns, then attacks one enemy. 75% chance of weaken, 75% chance of decreased defense on the target for 2 turns before attacking. Okay, that's pretty interesting. So you can decrease a single target's defense and also place increased attack on himself and a weaken. So you can do decreased defense on weekend. This guy's actually pretty good. 4-turn cooldown. I think this guy could have some interesting uses. Decreases the cooldown of this champion's Gleam of Avarice skill by 1 turn every time he loses 15%. So that'll cooldown will go down. Okay. So it's a 4-turn when you book it, but if he's losing his HP by 15%, which doesn't seem like that much, it will actually be quicker cooldown. Tracked over multiple turns. Not affected by healing or other HP increases. Wow, that's pretty interesting. Okay. Ally attack and Doom Tower battles by 35%. So they're putting some Doom Tower auras out here. Pretty interesting. All right, now we'll look at the rares. Tigersoul, pretty. She got poison on her A1. That's actually pretty good, but it's a 1-hitter. But you can book it to a 60% chance. It is a single poison, though. But hey, on a rare, so a 5% poison on an A1 on a rare at a 60% chance, that's Spirit. Kind of interesting as well, because I don't think there is, like, you have Frozen Banshee on her A1 once she has the poison sensitivity debuff up. But this is just plain old poison on the A1 on a Spirit champion on a rare. Attacks one enemy, 75% chance of placing Weaken for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. That's okay. Block debuffs and increased defense on this champion for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown once you book it. But it is only her. So she's decent, I would say, for the poison. This would be amazing if it was actually, a team-wide ability there, too. But then she's only a rare, so it would make her too valuable, probably. Roughstone, AoE, plain and simple. Decreases max HP, so maybe this is good for the... Was it this Scarab guy? I forgot whoever the one you need to decrease max HP in the Doom Tower for is. One enemy will ignore 50% of the target's defense, 50% chance of granting an extra turn if it attacks critting. That's kind of cool. He's okay. Nothing special. But you got to get multiple copies of these ones, which will happen in the events that are coming up. Pig Sticker. Here we go. Pig Sticker. All right. Heal reduction on the A1. Target decrease max HP again. So on a 3-turn cooldown. Decrease max HP by 30%. So, okay. So decrease max HP by 20 on that one. This is 2 hits and decreases max HP by 30. So she's going to be good in that whatever the boss is in Doom Tower. That you need to decrease max HP. However, again, I think that boss is Force, right? Increase ally attack in Doom Tower by 21. So not bad at all. So those are the 3 there. And then the 4, so these 3 are all going to be the same. And then there's 4 here along the bottom that are just the void ones that are going to be different. Gear Grinder, he's actually, I don't know, I just somehow like this guy's skin, even though it's a little bit weird looking. Like with this weird helmet he has. He looks like he's an Ogren slave, actually. Like, how do you move in these things? These mechanical fists, like, what is this, Ogren Iron Man? Like the half-completed Ogren Iron Man, it looks like, right? 1-hitter, 7.5% continuous heal on this champion for 1 turn if he crits. That's good. Heals allies by 15% of their max HP on a 3-turn cooldown. That's one of the funny ones. Healing Splatter. So he just splatters the heal over there, right? Necrocogs revives a dead ally with 50% HP and 50% turn meter. That's pretty cool on a 5-turn cooldown. And increases ally HP and faction crisp by 25. So interesting character, actually. I don't mind him. Panthera, this one actually looks good. And I think this one actually looks like she could be a Fire Knight Beast. A 3-hitter. Each crit has a 50% chance of decreasing turn meter by 3%. That seems kind of low, but hey, whatever. Which you can book up to, what, like a 75% chance? Wait. Yes, 75%, excuse me. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has an 85% chance of placing heal reduction for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, which you can book to a 100% chance. And this is a rare. Places a perfect veil buff and a 30% reflect damage on this champion for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, and ally accuracy in dungeons by 40. So actually, this Panthera, if you're struggling in Fire Knight, I remember when I was a newer player, I struggled in Fire Knight for a long time to get this. That was my last dungeon I completed. It was hard. Fire Knight's one of the harder dungeons, if not the hardest dungeon. This one, I think, is super useful, and actually she's super cool. Looks like a panther there, right? Super cool skin. I like her skin too, but she's going to be a Fire Knight beast, I feel like. Okay, and then here's a dagger. Plain and simple, dagger. Guess what kind of weapon she uses? Oh, daggers. Okay. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each crit decreases the target's turn meter by 4%. AoE that does decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown that you can book up to a 80%, 85%. No, 75%. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. 75% chance. I wish that was 100% chance. One hitter that does decreased attack for 2 turns on the lower version. If they're under decreased defense, it does the higher version, but it is only a single target on a 3-turn cooldown. It's okay. Ally attack and faction crips by 20. She's okay. Her decreased defense is cool. Not bad, but I wish it was 100% chance. That would make her so much better. Here's Kurzad Deep Heart. Okay, one hitter places an extra hit if he crits. The extra hit places decreased speed. AoE that each crit fills his champion's turn meter by 7.5%. Increased accuracy on all allies. Then AoE, 75% chance of decreased defense. Oh, it's a smaller version of decreased defense. He's all right. He's okay. I mean, I guess, let me know what you think of him, but meh is kind of my feeling on that guy. All right, now let's actually look at these champions that they kind of dropped in here, too. So if you look at the index, there's a few of them. I want to say Banner Lords might have had one of them. No, that guy's one of them, so I apologize here. I'm looking through. No, I guess they did not, actually. Banner Lords did not have one of these. All right, High Elves. High Elves did not have one either. Okay, we just got the new... Sacred Order had one. That's it. Sacred Order has this guy. It's a Void Epic. Inquisitor Shamil, or Shamil. I don't even know how to say it. Shamil. Shlamazel. Attacks one enemy, 50% chance of decreasing the duration of random buff on the target by 1 turn. Counterattacks with the skill each time an enemy places a debuff on an ally. Wow. These counterattacks will only deal 50% of the normal damage and cannot crit. Still kind of interesting, because it decreases buff duration, and if he constantly does that, he can lower buff durations by your team getting debuff. So kind of a unique skill. A 3-hitter ignores 25% defense, will ignore a further 25% for each buff on him, places True Fear on all enemies for 1 turn if this attack kills an enemy. Alright. Good, but again, sort of situational. Each critical hit fills the turn meter by 7.5%. Whenever an ally receives a Fear or True Fear debuff, this skill will instantly remove the debuff and fill ally's turn meter by 50. Wow! Okay, that's pretty cool. So, instantly he cleanses Fear and True Fear, just passively. That's amazing. Increase ally accuracy in Doom Tower battles by 60. So this guy actually looks pretty good. Does look decent. Now, Barbarians had a few, actually, that they dropped on us. This guy was already shown to us, but he looks super cool. And apparently someone already pulled him and only likes him in Faction Wars, or just rated him without barely using him, because this is like only been up for an hour or two. Okay. Yeah, Karl, the Scourge. He's got freeze here. Ignore shield if there are 1 or more enemies that are freeze. Ignore block damage if there are 2 or more enemies that are freeze. Will ignore 30% defense if there are 3 or more enemies. So that's very situational. That's why it's like he's a void Lego, so I kind of feel like he might be a little bit right? Attacks one enemy, 75% chance of placing decreased speed for 3 turns, 75% chance of freeze for 1 turn. Also steals 100% of the target's turn meter and places increased speed on him for 3 turns. That's pretty cool. 3-hitter, targets under freeze, removes the debuff after attacking and places it on all enemies except the initial target. That's interesting. So he steals the freeze that the person that has it and then spreads it. Will also attack all enemies except the initial target after the 3rd hit. Wow, so it's actually an AoE, right? The freeze debuff will be placed on all other enemies, even if the initial target dies before their freeze debuff is removed on a 4-turn cooldown. It still feels like highly this, that, and the other thing. Like, you need a lot of setup for this guy. Decreases the damage this champion receives by 10% and increases the damage this champion inflicts by 10% if there are 1 or more enemies under freeze. So it's a lot of if freeze. Increases this champion's speed by 50 and resistance by 50 if there are 2 or more enemies under freeze. Places unkillable on his champion for 2 turns whenever there are 3 enemies under freeze. Wow. Okay. And a passive on a 5-turn cooldown. So if people are frozen, he's got an unkillable buff on. Ally attack and Doom Tower by 43. So pretty interesting kit. I'm not sure where I would say I would use the guy, and I don't feel like... I feel like he's sort of situational. And then here's another one. Never heard of this one before. This one they just dropped right in here. Harken Greatblade. 1-hitter places an extra hit if the attacks are critical. That's pretty lame. 1-hitter, 75% chance of doing weaken debuff on the target for 2 turns before attacking. So that's nice. One hitter applies a debuff spread effect, taking 2 random debuffs from the target and placing them on everyone. Also extends the duration of those debuffs by 2. That's pretty nice. Will not extend the duration of debuffs on the initial target. So you couldn't use this in like Clan Boss. It wouldn't really work there anyway. But it's a 4-turn cooldown. Could be kind of interesting. Maybe some of these Doom Tower set, waves or something. I'm not sure. Or maybe in Arena you could use that. Ally attacking Doom Tower by 32%. So she's interesting. Not terrible, but not great is how I feel. Here's another guy. This is Merry Christmas to you guys. Here's Grunge Killjoy, the big fat Grinch that lives on the Ogren Tribe Mountain. You can actually see, the entrance to his cave back here. You know how the Grinch lives on top of a mountain. This is the Grinch's lair here. He's just eating all kinds of little babies for dinner. And what's he got here? Stole the entire village's gifts. I guess those, I don't know whose gifts were those. This is the Sacred Order or the High Elves gifts or something. He took them all. And he said, "Screw you, bah humbug." Right? Okay. Anyway, here he's got a one hitter that does block buffs. Block buffs is actually good, so I actually like that. Which is booked up to 65% chance? Yeah, 65% chance of block buffs. AoE that has a 50% chance, which is booked to 70% chance of placing a bomb debuff that detonates after 1 turn. Okay. AoE, cleanse, that places then continuous heal on each ally for every debuff removed from them. Oh, wow. That could be a lot, actually. That's 4 turns, so they could have a lot of continuous heals, actually. That's a pretty sick cleanse. I like that cleanse. Because it doesn't heal them instantly. It does do it over time, which a lot of other guys do it instantly, like Scartorsis or, I believe, Mausoleum Mage does it instantly, and I think Hackhorn Smash Lord is all instant as well. But they're legendaries, except for Mausoleum Mage. So fills the turn meter of all allies by 10% whenever a bomb debuff detonates on an enemy. Increases ally defensive faction groups by 30. He is support based, and his damage is based off of attack. But his attack is very low, and his defense is just okay. HP's high, speed is good. I like the guy. I kind of hope I pull this guy. I just actually want to do a review on him or something. So build the Grinch. All right. So there is Grunge Killjoy. And I'm not sure if there's anybody else. We'll just look through these real quick. Lizardman. Yeah, there was. Okay. I knew there was some. Aox the Rememberer. Kind of a little tribal Lizardman. So what does he do? He's force. Attacks one enemy twice. Very low chance. This reminds me of Steel Skull. Each hit has a 10% chance of placing a 5% poison for 2 turns, which you can book to a 30%. I'm pretty sure that's the exact same ability as Steel Skull's A1, but I'm not sure. Attacks one enemy, heals all allies by 10% of their max HP, heals each ally by an extra 2.5% for each debuff on the target. On a 3-turn cooldown, that's okay. It's only their max HP. Decrease attack on all enemies for 2 turns. 75% chance of decreasing turn meter. Decrease crit rate on the target. Places a 30% decreased crit rate debuff on the target for 2 turns if they have 50% or more of the turn meter after the turn meter decrease. Okay, so it's a little bit of a setup for the decreased crit rate. So it's decreased attack, basically. 3 turns, which you can book up to a 75% chance. But it's cool because it does decrease turn meter and decrease attack. Kind of an interesting ability. I like it. Weight of Aeons, right? Yep. Okay, Steward of Time. Increases duration of 2 random debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn when attacked. Occurs once per hit. Okay, so he's got poison, he's got decreased attack, he's got this heal. He actually might be decent in Clan Boss is how I feel. So anyway, ally accuracy in Doom Tower by 60. It's not going to be top tier, but he does have, if you don't have a Vizier or something, he does have the increase the duration when he gets hit. So if you have a counter attack set up and he's getting hit, some of those debuffs could keep getting increased, which is pretty nice. All right, anything else? I'll just look through here real quick. No, look at no, that's the one we already saw. Excuse me. I think that's it, but I'm just double checking so I don't miss anything here. But by the way, thank you very much for all the support. We saw these ones already. These are the Doom Tower ones. Okay. No, this one actually just got released again too. Achu, the Windaren. I don't know how you say this. All right, Demon Spawn. Actually looks pretty cool. Attacks one enemy has a 30% chance of decreasing the duration of 1 random buff if the target's under HP burn. Also has a 30% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter if they're under freeze. Block debuffs on all allies for 1 turn, and strengthen on all allies for 4 turn cooldown. Not bad. AoE, 75% chance of freeze. Okay, this is situational. I don't like that. This, that, and the other. So it's either HP burn or freeze. Heals all allies by 5% of their max HP every time an enemy under HP burn debuff gets a turn. Fills turn meter. So if they do HP burn, it does a heal. If there's a freeze, it does turn meter fill. Defense in all battles by 25. Not terrible, but meh. It's kind of how I feel about that one. All right. And did we get anything else snuck in there? This one looks like we did. No, that's the same guy. That's a drug lord. Excuse me. How could I forget that guy? All right, Dark Elves. We only got 2 more to go, so please do me a favor. Please like and subscribe as well. And it looks like we did get another one snuck in right here, right? This is a new one, isn't it? Rector Drath. Look at this. Okay. Now that is some evil-looking stuff right there. All right. That looks like, if your grandma's really mean, that's what you picture her as. It looks kind of like Hellraiser. What's his name? Pinhead in Hellraiser's face, actually, though. Attacks one enemy, 35% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. All right. Which you can book up to 50%. So it's a decreased attack. Nice. Heals all allies by 20% of her max HP after healing. Places perfect veil for 2 turns on allies with full HP, and a continuous heal on them with less than full HP. 4 turn cooldown. Pretty neat. Revives a single ally with 60% HP and fills their turn meter by 60%. Places perfect veil on them for 3 turns on a 4 turn cooldown. And whenever an enemy under a veil or perfect veil buff gets a turn, heals them by 10% of their max HP, and also increases the resistance of allies under veil or perfect veil by 50. We'll only do it once if there's multiple Rectors on the same team. Ally resist and doom towers by 55. So actually, she's pretty cool. I would not mind getting her. Pretty decent new champions here. Anything we missing in the dwarves? No, that is it. That guy's actually part of the fusion, right? Yep, okay. That's it. So you see they snuck in like 4 other champions in there. So make sure you go and look. I know this video is super long, so thank you so much if you did make it through this. I just wanted to keep it one big video, get it out as soon as I could. So thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. I hope you have a great week. Good luck with the fusion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I will be back with more videos. Cheers.